Bonjour Shopify world, my name is Andrew from ecomexperts.io, and in this video we're reviewing an app that's going to change the way you look at data and hopefully make you tons more dinero. Okay, so in this video I've partnered up with Derek from ecommercetech.io, and together we are reviewing Enquire Labs. Okay, so Enquire Labs, what is it? I'm gonna read it off right here. Enquire Labs is a attribution survey tool designed to improve attribution by seeking information from your most powerful source, your customers. I don't really know what that means. But not to worry, stick to the very end because this app can actually save you and make you a whole lot of money. We're gonna talk about exactly what they solve. We're gonna talk about their competitors, their pricing, their integration, their reviews, and if yes or no, you should install this app. On the flip side, only 6% of the people watching this video are subscribed, so it would mean the world to me if you can just hit that subscribe button, smash it like some people would say, because that's like my only feedback if yes or no I'm doing a good job, and I'm trying to tell you everything I know as a Shopify expert to my subscribers. Okay, so Enquire Labs, what does it solve? Well, listen to this. You get a whole bunch of analytics and very detailed reports back from, let's say, your Facebook marketing campaigns. You know exactly which ad performs well and which video ad has how many views and at what time people stop watching it and which audiences work the best. Awesome, right? It's awesome to have that much information. The problem is when we are off Facebook. I mean, some of those sales, you have just no idea where they're coming from. And frankly, especially when it comes to direct marketing, I mean, a sale made from a podcast you're sponsored or a newspaper ad you pushed. With those type of sales, you have very little information about where the client actually came from. And that's a problem, of course, because in an ideal world, you know to the very last cent which marketing channel of yours is producing the highest return on investment, and you want to double down on that marketing channel and kind of leave the rest behind. I talk about this in my Wednesday strategy videos on Shopify. You should really check them out if you want to make more money right here. But okay, so Enquire Labs, what do they actually do? Well, they help you get a better idea of all of the channels where your clients actually came from. And they do that with a super simple way. You see, post-purchase, they ask a simple question. How did you hear about us? With a whole bunch of possible answers, or even an other segment where you can just say, oh no, it was none of these, it was that random newspaper ad you did one day, remember? And now I can hear you say, okay, Andrew, a survey, how much can that really help me? Well, just look at these numbers right here. I mean, the response rate on that survey is pretty huge. And what you'll get is, as you'll see right here, is that some of the Google Analytics says like, oh, this sale was attributed to nothing, while with the survey they say, no, it was an Instagram influencer, actually this one specifically. Okay, now we're talking. So Enquire Labs, what do they solve? Well, they actually give you a good amount of analytics telling you where exactly your sales comes from, and they do it by just asking the customer, and the results are a much deeper, more detailed analytics than Google Analytics, which is pretty crazy. Okay, so how does it work? Well, pretty straightforward. You just install the app, start a survey. How did you hear about us? Here are the possible answers. And then whenever a client completes a purchase, they have the checklist. That's how it works. Now, how is this different from a classic survey that you can just do with SurveyMonkey, let's say? Well, the analytics part is a bit different. You see, the small team behind Enquire Labs are actually data analytics people or folks that have been doing data management for pretty much their entire career. The result is that they are very aware of the statistics as well as the, like, how do you call these biases? The statistical biases, is that even a thing? Anyway, they understand data and they understand what goes wrong into data. For example, they know that some people just click the first thing they see on a survey, and they know this happens because these guys are trained data specialists. And so the survey switches out the responses to make sure it's not getting skewed. Afterwards, the survey takes all of that information together with the average order value and gives you these neat little analytical breakdowns where you know exactly which channel produced how much. It also compares the Google Analytics result versus the survey result so that you can see any gaps and that you can really understand where your client is coming from way better. Okay, Andrew, that's pretty awesome, but I really don't like Enquire Labs as a name, and I would rather use one of their competitors. Who are their competitors? Well, that's a pretty fair question, and I have my cheat sheet right here. We have Grapevine post-purchase survey, we have a Zikpoll, post-purchase, and Surveyor, and they're all like serving polling form tools available in the Shopify app stores. Now, I'm not sure to which extent these guys know how to manipulate the data that comes in. I'm sure some of them are great, and I'm going to analyze and review some of them as well. But for now, I can't guarantee how good they are in business analytic aspect of all this. All right, before we talk about if you should use it, we're going to talk about the integrations. As you know, in these app reviews, I love talking about the integrations because it's important that all of that data nicely plays along with the other apps in your ecosystem. And so yes, Enquire Labs does integrate with a couple of other people. I'm taking my cheat sheet again because Enquire Labs integrates directly with Shopify and Shopify Plus, obviously, but it also integrates with Klaviyo, Carthook, Recharge, Shopify Flow, Rockerbox, and obviously Google Analytics. And I can already hear you ask, Andrew, how much is this going to cost me? Well, for that, they have a couple of not really plans, but the price goes from $10 to $100 depending on what you all need. I will list this right here, or in here, and over my face. Also, let's take a moment to overlay the reviews right here before we talk about who should actually use this app, because not everyone. So ta-da for the review. Okay, so should you install Enquire Labs? And this is my personal opinion, but it kind of depends. You see, I talked about your number one mission as an entrepreneur, like your number one goal, no matter what you sell, this is what you have to do. I talked about it in one of my strategy videos last time that you can check out here. But the gist of it is that you have to find your biggest ROI channel and that you have to spend the less money possible to make a sale. Obviously, an app like Enquire Labs can help you with this because it's going to provide you the data to clearly identify which channel is the cheapest for you to acquire a new customer. And that's where it's really a brilliant app, especially since some of the other apps or Google Analytics in general can give you the wrong bias or can give you the impression that Instagram is giving you all your sales. Well, actually it was that random podcast of last week. And that makes you double down on Instagram ads and not on the podcast ads, which you're not following your core mission anymore, where you should be focusing on the channel that gives you the biggest ROI because of wrong data. Enquire Labs solved this issue by giving you a different data perspective and probably way more accurate data about where your best ROI is coming from. So should you have a lifelong subscription to them? I do think that every store should at some point at least install them and have them running for 1 month or 2 months just to identify their core channels. Of course, if you're a big brand that's constantly changing channels and trying out new things, yeah, just leave them installed. The return on investment is a no-brainer. But on the flip side, if you're just starting out or you're a really small brand with just a handful of channels, I mean, if you have like 100 website visitors a day, is investing in Enquire Lab really the lowest hanging fruit at your specific time frame? Probably not. You probably have other fish to fry or catch depending on what you're doing. So in short, I don't think that it's a very interesting app for any beginner store owner. If you're like a up and running store owner that does like $5,000 a month, I would definitely recommend you install it and let it run for 2, 3, 4 months just to get some feedback. And if you're a way bigger store with tons of marketing channels doing $100,000, $200,000, $1 million a month, then yes, of course, install it and leave it running, and that extra data is just going to make you more money. I mean, the ROI seems like a no-brainer to me. All right, that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out my Wednesday strategy videos or my Thursday coding videos. The aim of this channel is to transfer everything I know about Shopify to you, my watchers, so please subscribe. It literally means the world to me. If I could beg, I would, but I'm not going to. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in another video. Adios!